request those who are standing to kindly be seated. May I request also people standing in the aisles to please keep it free for people to be able to walk up onto stage. Thank you. A reminder to kindly keep mobile phones switched off or in the silent mode. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Ramnath Goenka Memorial Foundation, I welcome you all to the Ramnath Goenka Excellence in Journalism Awards Ceremony, an annual event that began as part of the centenary celebrations of Ramnath Goenka to acknowledge and reward the best in journalism nationwide, and today is recognized as one of the most coveted award functions and an award that a journalist can get. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an absolute honor for us to have with us this evening the Honorable Minister of Finance, Corporate Affairs and Information and Broadcasting, Mr. Arun Jaitley, to present the awards this evening. Thank you, sir, for being with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have with us the peerless, incomparable, outstanding celluloid superstar, director, actor, and producer Aamir Khan, who will share with us his thoughts a little later in the evening. Thank you, Aamir, for joining us this evening. The late Ramnath Goenka, founder of the Express Group, was a multifaceted person. His mission as a newspaper publisher was to empower citizens and make all those in power and authority accountable to the people, a mission he carried out with unflagging zeal. The Indian Express Group continues with his legacy of setting the benchmark for daily journalism's ability to inform and interpret, challenge and provoke. It is my privilege to share with all of you a short film on the founder of the Express Group, the late Ramnath Goenka.
The Excellence in Journalism Awards have been instituted in celebration of the centenary year of Ramnath Goenka. Ramnath Goenka came from a simple Marwari business family. In 1932, he bought a small newspaper titled Indian Express. From then on, his abiding passion was his newspaper empire, the only national newspaper chain in the country. Goenka lived by one mantra: to tell the truth without fear or favor. The Ramnath Goenka Excellence in Journalism Awards recognize journalists who show exemplary courage in reporting the truth. Goenka spent a lifetime picking up gauntlets that lesser mortals would decline to pick up. He was one of the very few newspaper owners who dared to take on the government. The Excellence in Journalism Awards paid tribute to journalists who practice the highest standards in their profession, even in the face of political or economic pressures. During the emergency, the Indian Express newspaper was under tremendous pressure. Power supply to the Indian Express office cut off.
The money was exhausted. Government was putting pressure, no ads, no money was given, even being realized from private sector. Those were hard days.
Express editor Kuldeep Nair jailed. He, along with other Express journalists, signed a petition protesting against censorship.
When I said that, well, what's the point now, Ramnathji? There comes a time when you have to sort of give in a bit. He said, no, I will fight. And perhaps it's that indomitable spirit of his that has lived on and survived the emergency. And thereafter has, I think, been like a clarion call to the entire press.
The Ramnath Goenka Excellence in Journalism Awards honor journalists of character and integrity who carry on in spite of difficult circumstances.
I was sitting with him and he was very depressed. I said, "Kya ho gaya hai?" He said कि मुझे कुछ जवाहरात बेचने पड़े. I've had to sell jewels in Nepal to keep the paper going. बुरा लगता है.
The Excellence in Journalism Awards acknowledge those journalists whose work is always fair and accurate, thereby creating awareness among readers and the nation. Goenka played a key role in uniting the opposition under the Janata Party banner for the parliamentary polls of March 1977. But Goenka did not spare the Janata Party either when it was voted to power. The awards pay tribute to journalists who encourage public trust in the media by exposing even government wrongdoings.
There is absolutely no doubt that he is the one who gave all of us, you, me, all of us, the freedom that we had. None of the editors would have done that. None of the actually the editors were always an impediment. It's Ramnath ji that who would say, "Arey yaar, unko karne do."
The Ramnath Goenka Excellence in Journalism Awards honor journalists who not only report news but are crusading in their efforts towards bringing forward the ultimate truth. In 1991, the dawn of Indian journalism passed away. Leaders from across the political spectrum paid tribute to his fighting spirit and determination to uphold public values. The Excellence in Journalism Awards uphold the high standards that Ramnath Goenka set for journalism in India.
In a complex world, the Indian Express connects the dots on all issues of relevance through news breaks and insightful opinions written by some of the nation's best minds. Interactive in its spirit, the paper engages new ideas that are shared, discussed, and debated across its pages. Investigation and explanation are central to its content and brand planning. And it does so with its trademark values of courage, honesty, and credibility. Ladies and gentlemen, we now share with you the recently launched campaign, The Indian Intelligent, that seeks to celebrate this spirit of independent thinking. Over the years, the Ramnath Goenka Excellence in Journalism Awards has recognized some of the finest names in Indian journalism. And it is an honor to share with you the most credible names that comprise the prize board. And some of them, in fact, all of them, are with us tonight. Thank you, jury, for the fantastic selection of results that we celebrate tonight.
B.N. Sri Krishna, former Judge, Supreme Court of India. Deepak Parekh, Chairman, HDFC Limited. Dr. S.Y. Qureshi, former Chief Election Commissioner, Election Commission of India. Pamela Philippos, journalist and senior fellow, Indian Council of Social Science Research. Sashi Kumar, Chairman, Media Development Foundation and Asian College of Journalism.
Together with our corporate partner Lloyd, associate partners governments of Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, PC Dwellers, Bharat Petroleum, NTSC, NTPC, Power Grid, ONGC and Trustline, event partners LIC, the writing instruments partner Parker, and banking partner Union Bank of India, the Ramnath Goenka Memorial Foundation today is proud to once again celebrate excellence in journalism. I'd like to now request the Chairman and Managing Director of the Express Group, Mr. Vivek Goenka, to please share his thoughts with us.
I've seen this audio-visual a number of times, and every time I see it, I get goosebumps. Respected Chief Guest, our Honorable Minister of Finance, Corporate Affairs, Information and Broadcasting, Mr. Arun Jaitley, winners and nominees of the Ramnath Goenka Excellence in Journalism Awards for 2013 and 14, the director and artist, Mr. Aamir Khan, members of the jury, Mr. Deepak Parekh, Justice Sri Krishna, Mr. S.Y. Qureshi, Mr. Sashi Kumar, who's been my friend and accomplice in many a crime from my school days, and my former colleague of more than a decade at Indian Express, Pamela Philippos. And ladies and gentlemen, I do this every year, and every year it gets bigger and better. It's my pleasure and privilege to welcome you on behalf of the Ramnath Goenka Foundation to applaud and celebrate the finest in Indian journalism for the work done in 2 years, 2013 and 2014, at a time when the news cycle moves not just by 24/7, but by 24/7, by 60/60. Something breaking every second. 2 full years, 2013 and 14, seem not only like an age, but also like ancient history. And yet, no 2 years in recent times have marked turbulence and transition as strongly as these. In the country, 2013, the old orders last year, a weak government rapidly losing authority and power. 2014, the new orders first year, a first majority government in 30 years, voted on promise of decisiveness and change. And beyond our borders, these were defining years as well. For one, we saw how the war in Syria turned global, rendering so many homeless, that 2014 was also the year when the worldwide displacement of men and women and children was at the highest level in our recorded history. Almost 60 million people were forced to leave their homes. That's 2 families packing up and moving every time you blink your eye. Linked to this, during the 2 years that has been the dramatic and disturbing rise of the Islamic State, which scripted horrific terror just 10 days ago in Paris. Many of the nominees, and in fact, one of the award-winning stories today, are about these events. Writing in his book, aptly called The Age of Turbulence, the famous Alan Greenspan, the former Fed Reserve Chairman, considered to be the central banker of central bankers, said that during turbulence, quote, economists cannot avoid being students of human nature, particularly of exuberance and fear. And I would not hesitate to replace economists with journalists. Journalists, too, during a time of disruptive change, cannot avoid being students of human nature, particularly of exuberance and fear. This is more so when disruptive change comes at such a high human cost. Friends, the stories that we celebrate today brilliantly capture and showcase these two emotions. The heart-rending account of what happened in the bus on December 16th in Delhi a few years ago that changed the nation, what led to the communal violence in Muzaffarnagar less than 2 hours from where we are sitting today, how the Football World Cup found an echo in a soccer academy in a city slum, the harrowing journey of 46 nurses took from Syria to safety, and how an entire town in Uttar Pradesh transformed itself into a stage for the grandest Ram Leela in the world, and many, many more. In all, a record 700 applications from across the country, from more than 300 newspapers and television channels. 15 of the 57 winners this evening have won this award earlier, the highest number of second-time winners. The message is clear. Clearly, 15 of these did not let the awards go to their heads, that they are still doing great work. All this underlines what I keep saying each year. I'm proud to reiterate this evening, excellence in journalism isn't exactly in short supply. You only need to look beyond your smartphone, your remote control. That's what these awards do, thanks to a brilliant jury who've actually set the gold standard in the Indian news media. They read and they watch, they listen and they learn. It is this listening and learning that also lies at the heart of good journalism. That is why we introduce an exciting new event this evening after the awards, The Conversation, with a very unique Aamir Khan, who through his life and work blends courage of conviction with passion of his art. Aamir occupies a unique place in our minds. When thinking of him, the words that come to mind are patriot, conscience keeper, artist, director, producer, actor, and last, of course, megastar. We shall listen to him. So without delay, let me welcome our chief guest this evening, my friend of almost 30 years, Arun Jaitley. Mr. Jaitley, there always was, there always is, and there always will be a very special place in the Indian Express for you. And I mean what I say, Mr. Jaitley. You have helped us fight for our freedoms. You have been the person we have often turned to for advice, a sounding board when all else sounded hollow. As a minister, as a lawyer, as a politician, as an individual, you stand for the values we celebrate this evening. The capability to be deeply involved and yet impartial, the integrity of intellect that respects every voice no matter where it comes from. That's why we are privileged to have you here as a chief guest this evening. Mr. Jaitley, I welcome you to deliver the keynote lecture and give the Ramnath Goenka Excellence in Journalism Awards for 2013 and 14. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Arun Jaitley and Mr. Aamir Khan this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I'd like to now request our chief guest for this evening, the Honorable Minister of Finance, Corporate Affairs and Information and Broadcasting, Mr. Arun Jaitley, to please address the august gathering.
Mr. Vivek Goenka, ladies and gentlemen, let me at the very outset thank Vivek for having invited me to associate with this grand function where the Ramnath Goenka Awards for Excellence in Journalism are being awarded today. I've had the privilege and opportunity of having known Ramnath ji and having worked with him quite closely. And amongst people from various walks of life that we have all dealt with, I've never had the least hesitation in my mind in acknowledging that probably Ramnath Goenka was the most fascinating gentleman that I ever knew. I'd heard of him as a young student. I first met him in 1974, almost 41 years ago. The JP movement was on, and Sri Jayaprakash Narayan had come to Delhi, and there were two places where he used to be available. One was a small bungalow next to the Gandhi Peace Foundation where he used to live. And most of the daytime, he used to meet a lot of people in Ramnathji's guest house in what is now the New Indian Express building. It was a single-floor guest house, and I had an appointment to meet JP to invite him to the Delhi University. When I entered the living room of that guest house, there were about 4 or 5 people of Ramnathji's vintage close friends. Ramnathji was there, JP was there, Nanaji Deshmukh was there. And the fourth gentleman I remember used to be a Congress MP from Bihar, who was a great friend of theirs called Mr. Ganga Saran Singh. I wonder if Vivek still remembers him. Not many people remember him. After that, I maintained some contact with Ramnathji because he was a central figure in the movement those days. His adversaries used to address him as the representative of what they called the jute press. And of course, he was a relentless fighter. A few months after that, the emergency was imposed. Most of us were in detention. Ramnathji was effectively removed from the control of the Indian Express. But if there was one instrumentality outside the prison system which kept fighting the emergency, that was the Indian Express. While in detention, even that censored newspaper was of great value to us. We would at times stare at the empty, blank lead editorial, which was symbolic of the fact that he wanted to say something and was not allowed to write that. Either on the edit page or in the edited news columns, which had been censored between the lines, you could always get a feel of what the newspaper wanted to convey. And that was a time, whatever he had at stake, he had invested in the struggle for democracy during the emergency. As a newspaper owner, he had a few ideas which he had inculcated all these years. He started the newspaper when the British were ruling India. Very little is known about the fact that during the Quit India movement, when censorship was imposed, he chose to close down the newspaper rather than submit it for censorship. And then restart the newspaper once the censorship was removed. He was for a brief while in the Madras Legislative Council or Assembly, one of the two bodies. And he had made it through that route into the Constituent Assembly. He very proudly used to show to us one of the speeches that he had delivered in the Constituent Assembly on newspaper censorship. And the subject matter of discussion in the Constituent Assembly was imposition of tax on newspapers. And he said that a time will come when governments will never use or resort to crude methodologies like censorship or physically preventing newspapers or articles from coming out, but would probably resort to pinching the pockets of the newspapers, that's the phrase he had used, in order to make sure that they could control the media itself. And he had very strongly spoken against that proposal of empowering states or center to impose taxation on newspapers. His personal history and that of his newspaper was almost subsequently the history of Indian politics post-independence. But it was through the 70s and the 80s that we saw the best in him. During the period 69-70, when most of the people were going in favor of state controls and so on, he was quite vocal against it. Not many would remember, I'm sure Mr. Kuldeep Nair would recollect, that during the period 69, 70, 71, his editor, Frank Moraes, used to virtually write a front-page column regularly, giving the alternate viewpoint on the economic policies and other policies. It used to be called Myth and Reality, which was one of the most read columns those days. There was a second personal experience that he had, and I think that's a big challenge today that Indian media faces. From big to small, people involved in various kinds of other businesses also tend to control media organizations. And the editorial columns then reflect, the news columns then start reflecting the obvious conflict of the different interests that they have. He also dabbled in other businesses, lost a lot of money in them. At one stage was a massive CBI case was built up against him. He was prosecuted and then acquitted in Chennai. He then realized that a newspaper has to be a standalone business. But how do you then support economically and financially a standalone business if you don't have other economic support to the newspaper? And his conventional Marwari wisdom was that wherever you establish a media center, you must establish a big real estate center there. So all the offices, the buildings, the guest houses, the printing presses that he started establishing in one metropolitan town after another was never for his personal wealth. The income generated out of that, he continuously was then led into the newspaper company, and that supported the newspaper. So his model of keeping the newspaper a reasonable distance away from other business interests, and then having his own real estate, so whether it was Delhi or Chennai or Mumbai, he first invested in simultaneously in large real estate, got a huge income out of that property, and all that income would go in supporting the newspaper itself. And that is probably what kept him going during the emergency, because he always had an independent income which could finance his newspaper losses. Having virtually become the sole voice in favor of democracy during that period, I think the later part of the 70s was personally a sad period for him, because having lost his son Bhagwan Das, he went into a little bit of a shell. But in 1980 or so, he suddenly woke up again to his best. During peacetime, he was like fish out of water. He loved a fight. So when the Congress government came back to power, Mrs. Gandhi came back to power in 1980, the first attack was again on the Indian Express. And this is what saw the second round of the best in the man. And that is when some of us youngsters were almost in daily contact with him. He was never to be cowed down by any such fight. From his newsprint allocations, to his advertisements, to his buildings, to his tax cases. At one stage, he had some 700 prosecutions against his newspaper, being summoned almost every part of the country. And he had a whole team of people who were fighting him. A strike was engineered in his office to physically make sure that the paper doesn't publish. But then he remained committed to the kind of values that he was himself committed to. He was a great one, and I'm sure Vivek, in his younger days, must have felt the pinch of it for insisting on saving money. He hated the idea of anybody being spendthrift, so when people traveled, whether it was his advisors or friends or even Vivek, the first thing he would go and look at their handbags to see whether they had traveled in executive class or in the economy class. He was a great disciplinarian. I've seen him till the mid-1980s, driving himself his old ramshackle Fiat car. He even disliked the idea of keeping a driver on whom he had to spend money who would drive his vehicle, but was very large-hearted when it came to fighting for his space in the media as such. How do I look back on him and relate it to the current stage of Indian journalism? He was fearless. He could almost risk anything at stake. He deeply had a sense of pride about the fact that a newspaper is supposed to expose corruption, a newspaper is supposed to expose injustice wherever it finds it. He gave his paper a direction, whether it was human rights, it was corruption. He had his own strong political views also. He had friends almost across the spectrum. And I remember his last battle was when he realized that this was probably the last chance when his paper may or may not survive towards the end of the 1980s, that he almost put in everything that he had into the 1989 electoral battle. So the period from 1986, 87 to 89 was the last political battle in that sense that he fought. Risking almost everything, emerged victorious out of that. And it was a consistent observation where anybody who knew him well would realize that never wanted to be a part of any power structure as such. And therefore he fought his battles, the battles produced their results, and he immediately distanced himself from those positions of exercising influence in power as such. I think probably one of the most fascinating characters that India has ever seen, and it's a fit tribute to him that nobody could represent this values of fearless and independent journalism that he did. And to have a award of such prominence instituted in his name is something that he eminently deserves. He's an essential part of India's media history. And I think when we live in an era where mediocrity at times dominates, to select excellence out of that and reward it year by year, and as you just mentioned, a large number of recipients are recipients several times over of this award. I think is a fitting tribute to him. I pay my respects to the memory of Ramnathji, my best wishes to the Indian Express, which I'm sure will keep alive the values that he cherished the most. Indian Express is his legacy, and his legacy certainly deserves the best that was represented in his lifetime itself. And my compliments to all those and congratulations to all those who have been honored with this recognition today. Thank you.
These awards have set a much-needed benchmark for journalism in the country and are open to journalists from both print and broadcast media, but only those who have shown extraordinary strength of character and integrity while reporting news accurately under dangerous and difficult circumstances are shortlisted and honored. I'd like to request a couple of the photographers here to please leave little space for our award winners to come up. So you'll have to move a little more. We need a little space for them. Thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, we begin the ceremony with the first category, which is given in memory of the former resident editor of the Indian Express, Pune, Prakash Kardale, a very proactive journalist who was also one of the prime movers behind the Right to Information Act. In the category Prakash Kardale Memorial Award for Civic Journalism, the winners are...
For the year 2013, the winner is Richard Joseph from Rashtra-Deepika. And for the year 2014, the winner is Radhesham Bapu Jadhav from the Times of India.
Richard Joseph, Rashtra-Deepika 2013. Radhesham Bapu Jadhav, The Times of India 2014. Please come up. Please come up. To him, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for them. Thank you very much. Please be seated. The second award is in the category of Uncovering India Invisible. Print, the winners are...
For the year 2013, the winners are Jiju John Futesat, Mahesh Guptan and Santosh John Thoval from Malayala Manorama. And for the year 2014, the winner is Team Lokmath from Lokmath Media.
Collect the check. You can collect your check and stand for the photograph, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please be seated. For the category of Uncovering India Invisible broadcast, the winners are...
For the year 2013, the winner is Srinivasan Jain from NDTV 24/7. And for the year 2014, the winner is Uma Sudhir from NDTV 24/7.
Congratulations, thank you. The next set of awards is in the category of Hindi print, and the winners are...
For the year 2013, the winners are Atul Chaurasia and Rahul Kotiyal from Tehelka. And for the year 2014, the winner is Brijesh Singh from Tehelka.
Please come up. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. For the category of Hindi broadcast, the winner is...
For the year 2013, the winner is Sudhir Chaudhary from Z News. And for the year 2014, the winner is Sharik Rahman Khan from NDTV India.
Thank you. Congratulations. The next award is for the category of Books, Non-Fiction, Print. The winners are...
For the year 2013, the winner is Gary J. Bass for the book The Blood Telegram. And for the year 2014, the winner is Ziauddin Sardar for the book Makkah.
Meru Gokhale, Editor-in-Chief, Literary Publishing, Random House India, will collect the award on behalf of Gary. And Faiza Sultan, Publisher, Bloomsbury Publishing India, will collect the award on behalf of Ziauddin Sardar. Thank you. Congratulations. We move on to the next category of regional languages. In the category of regional languages print, the winners are...
For the year 2013, the winner is Biju Paravat from Matrabhumi. And for the year 2014, the winner is Aniket Vasant Sathe from Lok Satta.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. For the category of regional languages broadcast, the winners are...
For the year 2013, the winner is Sidhu Biradar from TV9. And for the year 2014, the winner is Sanish TK from Manorama News.
Thank you, congratulations. We now move on to the next category that accolades the best in the field of sports journalism. In this category, print, the winners are...
For the year 2013, the winner is Anu Singh Chaudhary from Gaon Connection. And for the year 2014, the winner is Rahul Bhatia from The Caravan.
Congratulations. Thank you. For the category of sports journalism broadcast, the winners are...
For the year 2013, the winner is Vinayak Deepak Gaikwad from IBN Lokmat. And for the year 2014, the winner is Kunal Vahi from NDTV India.
Congratulations. Thank you. The next category of awards, ladies and gentlemen, is for reporting from Jammu and Kashmir and the Northeast. In the category, print, the winners are...
For the year 2013, the winners are Isha Roy from The Indian Express and Riaz Vani from Tehelka. And for the year 2014, the winner is Isha Roy from The Indian Express.
Joint winners Isha and Riaz for 2013 and Isha for 2014. So Isha getting 2 awards. Congratulations, Isha and Riaz. Thank you. For the category of reporting from Jammu and Kashmir and the Northeast broadcast, the winners are...
For the year 2013, the winner is Barkha Dutt from NDTV 24/7. And for the year 2014, the winner is Chitra Tripathi from India News.
Congratulations. Thank you, Barkha and Chitra. The next set of awards is in the category of environmental reporting, print. The winners are...
For the year 2013, the winner is Ananda Banerjee from Mint. And for the year 2014, the winner is Madhavi Tata from Outlook.
Congratulations to Ananda and Madhvi. For the category of environmental reporting broadcast, the winners are...
For the year 2013, the winner is VC Venkatapati Raju from TV9. And for the year 2014, the winner is Sushil Chandra Bahuguna from NDTV India.
Congratulations to Venkatapati Raju and Sushil. Thank you. The next set of awards are for business and economic journalism. And in this category, print, the winners are...
For the year 2013, the winner is Shamni Pandey from India Today. And for the year 2014, the winner is Krishna Kaushik from The Caravan.
Congratulations, Shamni and Krishna. Thank you. For the category of business and economic journalism broadcast, the winners are...
For the year 2013, the winner is Praveen Ganesh Rao Mudholkar from IBN Lokmat.
Praveen, please come up. We do not have an award for the year 2014 in this category. Congratulations. Thank you. In the category of foreign correspondent covering India print, the winners are...
For the year 2013, the winner is Ross Colvin from Thomson Reuters. And for the year 2014, the winner is Katie Digel from Associated Press.
Paritosh Bansal, South Asia Bureau Chief of Thomson Reuters, is collecting the award on behalf of Ross Colvin. Katie, stay on this side. Yes, thank you. Congratulations to Ross and to Katie. Thank you. For the category of investigative reporting, print, the winners are...
For the year 2013, the winner is Shamlal Yadav from the Indian Express. And for the year 2014, the winners are Hakeem Irfan Rashid and Raman Kirpal from DNA.
Shamlal Yadav, Indian Express for 2013. Raman and Hakeem, joint winners for 2014. Congratulations. Thank you. For the category of investigative reporting, broadcast, the winners are...
For the year 2013, the winner is Preeti Chaudhary from Headlines Today. And for the year 2014, the winners are Seema Malik Verma and Sharad Vyas from ZMPCG.
Preeti, Seema and Sharad. Preeti, congratulations and thank you. For the category of on-the-spot reporting, print, the winners are...
For the year 2013, the winners are Dipankar Ghosh and VN Apurva from the Indian Express. And for the year 2014, the winner is Ashutosh Bharadwaj from the Indian Express.
Thank you. Congratulations to the Indian Express. For the category of on-the-spot reporting broadcast, the winners are...
For the year 2013, the winner is Karma Samten Paljor from CNN IBN. And for the year 2014, the winner is Amitabh Pashupati Revi from NDTV 24/7.
Amitabh, come this side. Congratulations to Karma and Amitabh. Thank you. The next award is for the category of features writing, print. The winners are...
For the year 2013, the winner is Sodamini Jain from Hindustan Times. And for the year 2014, the winner is Sohini Chattopadhyay from Open.
Congratulations, thank you. The next set of awards, thank you, ladies. The next set of awards is in the category of reporting on politics and government. For this category, in print, the winners are...
For the year 2013, the winner is Ashutosh Bharadwaj from the Indian Express. And for the year 2014, the winner is Supriya Sharma from Scroll.in.
Congratulations to Ashutosh and Supriya. Ashutosh seems to be collecting a lot of awards tonight. Congratulations, thank you. For the category of reporting on politics and government broadcast, the winners are...
For the year 2013, the winner is Deepa Balakrishnan from CNN IBN. And for the year 2014, the winner is Maria Shakil from CNN IBN.
Thank you, congratulations. The next set of awards is in the category of photojournalism, print. The winners are...
For the year 2013, the winner is Tashi Topgyal from the Indian Express. And for the year 2014, the winners are Dar Yasin from Associated Press and Ravi Chaudhary from the New Indian Express.
Tashi, Dar, and Ravi, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Tashi. Thank you. In the true spirit of a photographer. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, to present awards for the young team members of the Indian Express, the Sanjeev Sinha Memorial Award for Excellence in Reporting, and the Priya Chandrasekhar Memorial Award for Excellence in Editing. The winners are...
The winner is Arun Janardhanan. The winner is Rahul Sabharwal.
The most important part. Congratulations, Arun and Rahul. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the much-awaited Ramnath Goenka Journalist of the Year 2014. Once again, may I request our photographer friends to please leave a little space for our winner to please come up. The winner is
Kuldeep Nair. In the 40th year of emergency, the Ramnath Goenka Foundation is pleased to honor Kuldeep Nair, who symbolized journalism's fight against the emergency, who, as editor, Express News Service, was jailed under the Maintenance of Internal Security Act for leading a protest against the emergency. Nair, whose journalism spanned over 5 decades, has several scoops, but the most remembered among them is his story The Indian Express broke on the morning of January 16, 1976, that emergency would be called off and that fresh elections were likely to be held in March. Nair, who has also worked with The Statesman, wrote a popular syndicated column, Between the Lines, and authored several books including The Judgment and Beyond the Lines.
Congratulations, Mr. Nair. Thank you very much, Mr. Jaitley, for presenting the awards. Congratulations to all the award winners. We will now have the group photograph with the award winners. So I'd like to request Aamir to please join Mr. Jaitley and Mr. Goenka up on stage for the photograph. And the award winners of 2013 award winners, come up with your trophies only, please. Only your trophies, very quickly. I'd like to request the members of the jury and the event sponsors to please come up. Event partners and members of the jury. Dr. Qureshi, Shashi Menon, please come up. Pamela, please come up. Mr. Parekh, if I could request you to please join the award winners. Please remain, ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated. We haven't finished with the evening. Remember that we have a very special segment following the group photographs, so just remain seated. Thank you, winners of 2013. Winners of 2014, to please join us on stage now with your trophies only. Award winners, please move from this side. Come from this side, come from this side. Jumping up there. Members of the jury, please remain on stage. Event partners, kindly remain on stage. Winners of 2014, please join us quickly on stage with your trophies. Photographers, please allow the winners to come up. Quickly, quickly. Quickly, please. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I'd like you to please join me in giving a big round of applause to Mr. Kuldeep Nair, who received his award this evening as the Lifetime Achievement. So a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Mr. Kuldeep Nair. Congratulations to all our winners. Goenka to please come up on stage. Please be seated quickly, award winners. Please settle down. Please settle down. Award winners, kindly be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, I request for your cooperation once again. We'd like to give a resounding ovation to Mr. Kuldeep Nair for his Lifetime Achievement Award. Congratulations, sir and ma'am. A well-deserved Lifetime Achievement Award to you. We're now moving on to our next segment, and this features Aamir Khan. Aamir Khan is among India's most popular and influential film personalities today, and he began his career as an actor early, at the age of 19, with a small role in Ketan Mehta's Holi. However, his next, Qayamat Se Qayamat Tak, with which he made his debut as a lead actor, became a huge commercial success and established him as a romantic hero. He reinvented himself with Lagan, a film that also marked his debut as a producer and was India's entry to the Oscars in 2001. He has since come to be known for being part of quality cinema. As a producer, his repertoire has been hugely prolific. He has backed several films from the new wave cinema, including the political satire Peeply Life, the comedy Delhi Belly, and Dhobi Ghat. Aamir has also spoken out on a number of social and political issues. He publicly supported the Narmada Bachao Andolan in 2006 and Anna Hazare's Jan Lokpal Bill movement in 2011. In 2012, his company, Aamir Khan Productions, produced the television show Satyameva Jayate, which he also hosted. Over the 2 seasons it aired, the show brought to the forefront social issues that plagued the country, from female feticide to manual scavenging, triggering a nationwide debate on some of these topics. A recipient of the Padma Shri, as well as the Padma Bhushan, Aamir is currently, I believe, working on the film Dangal, where he plays a wrestler. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Aamir Khan, actor, producer, director, who will be in conversation with Mr. Ramnath Goenka, whole-time director and head, New Media, the Express Group. Anand, it's over to you.
Aamir, thanks for doing this for us. It's wonderful to have you.
It's a pleasure. Very good evening to everyone, and congratulations to all the winners. Well done. These are challenging times for good journalism, so congratulations.
So we'll get into why do you say it's a challenging time for good journalism in the future, through the course of the conversation. But since we are in a room full of the best journalists in India, we have to take full disclosure very seriously. The concept of full disclosure very seriously. So in full disclosure, I must admit that, Aamir, I've been a fan of yours for a very long time. I've been a fan for the last 15 years. We look at the photograph there that we dug out from the archives. That's when you were thinner, I was bigger. But Aamir, I was a fan of yours then, I think because of Jochita Voi Sikandar, because of Andaz Apna Apna. But I think today, the reason we are fans of yours is because you're unconventional. Your success has been very different from any sort of formula. You've always stayed away from a certain formula. And you've never been afraid to take a stance, which others in your position normally don't. So all these stances you take, is it impulsive? Is it thought through? Something about why you keep taking a stance?
Well, partly it's impulsive, partly it's emotional, it's an emotional reaction. And then I try and think it through also, but then finally sometimes you feel the need to speak, so you do. Yeah, I guess.
Out of all the stances that you've taken, sometimes some are political, some aren't. Is there any one that you would regret?
No, I don't think so, no. No, I don't think so. I mean, I've faced a lot of flack many times, but no, I don't think I regret any of the stances I took.
Did you ever consider the commercial ramifications of you sort of?
No, I didn't. To be quite honest, I didn't. But I've been doing okay commercially also.
I find, I mean, your career sounds a lot like the story Arun was talking about with regards to Express, 85 years of Express. I find a lot of similarities with that. if we can just, I don't know how long we have RNG with us for, so I can just ask him to make one quick comment. Can we get a mic in front of you? RNG, one sort of piece of a comment to Aamir maybe, the role of the celebrity in society. Do you find, are you happy with what celebrities normally do, how active they are in sort of in the public discourse, or would you like them to play it as safe as they have been, or would you rather have a celebrity like Aamir Khan who sort of likes to have his voice heard?
No, I'm quite okay with prominent people and achievers taking positions on issues. You see, there'll be a large number of them who are completely focused on their work, and therefore for them to develop a thought process outside their usual activity may not be possible. Everybody is not alike. But there are some people who are actively involved and at least involved in the thinking process themselves and would like to react. And therefore today, in a world where the forums for an individual to react are too many, he doesn't need a television channel, he doesn't need a newspaper, he can do it he can just in one line or a few words express himself. And I think if it's a seriously thought out view, as against just a maverick view, I think it does good to any society.
Aamir, do you find that social media also is encouraging you to take a point of view? I'm sure you get sort of haggled to say, is par kuch batao, take a stance more than you would like to.
No, I don't think social media has at all affected or propelled me to make public statements. I think social media is just one more platform. If you feel like saying something on it, you can use it. So the desire to say something, I think, often makes me say what I want to, and not the platform, really. Yeah.
Okay. But off late, Aamir, last 5-6 months, artists have, after a very long time, been getting up and taking a stance, especially in the last couple of months. Your thoughts about the stance some of your contemporaries have taken, and even other artists, not just actors?
Well, I think that, for creative people to voice what they feel is important. And I think that, a number of creative people, historians, scientists, have increasingly had a certain feeling in them, which they felt the need to express. And I think that for a creative person, one of the ways of expressing their dissatisfaction or their disappointment is to return, awards. And I think that's one way of, getting your point across, certainly.
So you're endorsing the way there was a protest.
Yeah, actually, I would endorse any protest which is non-violent, as long as you don't start beating up people, and as long as you don't resort to violence. Then all individuals have a right to protest, and they can protest in any manner that they feel is right, as long as they're not physically harming anybody or taking law into their own hands. And this is certainly a way to protest. For creative people, it is certainly a way to protest.
But are you, Aamir? But are you agreeing with the protest? Do you think it's called for, or is it premature?
Well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there are so many people here in this room who are much more knowledgeable than me, so I feel a little intimidated actually speaking in front of all of you. But my understanding is that a lot of the creative fraternity was protesting because of the growing discomfort that they felt, or the growing atmosphere of intolerance that they felt around them, a growing sense of insecurity and disappointment with that. And as a result, that was their way of showing that they are not happy with the situation. As an individual myself, as a part of this country, as a citizen, we read in the papers what's happening, we see on news what's happening, and certainly I've also been alarmed. I can't deny that I have been alarmed by a number of incidents. And it's for any society, it's very important to have a sense of security. I mean, there will be acts of violence anywhere in the world, and they would be there for different reasons. But for us as a society, as Indians, to feel a sense of security, 2-3 things are very important, I personally feel. One is a sense of justice. So if there is a wrong step that anyone takes, then correct justice is given out for or against that person. That gives a lot of sense of security to the common man. The common man feels कि अगर कोई गलत करेगा तो उसको justice will take its due course. That is one. The second thing that gives a sense of security, and that's a very important sense for all of us to have, is that the people who are our elected representatives, people who we select to look after us for 5 years, whether that's on the state level or whether it's at the level of the center. When people take law into their own hands, when there's a sense of insecurity, we look upon these people to take a strong stance, make strong statements, and speed up the legal process to prosecute such cases. When we see that happening, there's a sense of security. When we don't see that happening, there's a sense of insecurity. So it doesn't matter who the ruling party is. It's happened across ages, it's happened in different decades, it's happened at different times. So it doesn't matter who is in power. But the fact of the matter is, and I often, on television debates we see where one political party, in this case it's the BJP who's ruling right now, is accused of various things, and they say, but what happened in 1984? But that doesn't make right what's happening now. And what happened in 84 was disastrous. What happened in 1984 was horrendous. And what is happening, at other times also through the ages, whenever there is a violent act, when an innocent person is killed, whether it's even one single person or a collection of people, that's very unfortunate. And in these unfortunate moments, these are the moments that we look to our leaders to take a strong step, whether they're on the state level or at the center, make statements which are reassuring to us as citizens of the country. That's what we look for, yeah.
But sort of thinking about...
So in that sense, to actually complete my answer, I think I went off a long way. To complete your answer, do I agree with that? I also feel that there is a sense of insecurity, there is a sense of fear, there is a sense of...
More than there was...
Earlier?
Yeah,
I think in the last maybe 6 months, 8 months, there has been a growing sense of despondency, I would say. I mean, when I sit at home and talk to Kiran, Kiran and I have lived all our lives in India. For the first time, Kiran says, should we move out of India? Now, that's a disastrous and very big statement for Kiran to make to me. She fears for her child, she fears for, what the atmosphere around us will be. She feels scared to open the newspapers every day. So that does indicate that there is a sense of growing disquiet. It's a sense of growing despondency. Apart from alarm, there's one part of it is alarm. There's another part you feel depressed, you feel low, you feel, why is this happening? So that sense does exist in me, to be quite honest. Yeah.
And Aamir, you have faith in the media generally. You believe that what is being communicated is fairly accurate. You don't think a lot of it is...
Well, so partly, I'm saying like every other aspect of society, the kind of social fabric that we live in today, that this kind of social fabric that exists around us today is reflected in the media, is reflected in the films, it's reflected in politics, it's reflected, all around us. So to that extent, I think, and quite honestly, the social fabric is not at its best right now. So for me to say I have complete faith in the media, I wouldn't say that. There are a lot of there are a lot of journalists, young and senior, who are doing a good job, and who are upholding what media really does stand for. But I can't say that as a sweeping generalized statement, no.
One of the things that we at the Express pride ourselves in, and I think generally print journalism, I think, does a little bit better than other media, is getting nuances of a conversation out, is getting into the detail, which people are maybe losing that attention span for. Do you think the audience has that appetite for the nuance like it once sort of used to?
Well, when you're doing mass communication, it is always very difficult to have a nuanced conversation, and that's one of the challenges that people who are indulging in mass communication face. In my experience, I think the one thing that I've learned is that if you touch an emotional chord with people, then they do want to understand the nuances also. So when you're communicating, it's not only important to reach out to people intellectually, but also to reach out to them emotionally. And that for me has always worked.
But the conversation, I think, has gotten more intelligent. You know, I joined Express formally 4 years ago, and I was given the job of running the web division. And I had committed some targets to my father, and then 2 months into the job, I was very nervous because one industry veteran came and told me that, Anand, to do well on the internet, you need to do ABCD: astrology, Bollywood, cricket, and devotion. Now this
So
is
did
not
you follow
Express,
that?
Now this is not Express territory.
But did you follow that?
So what I've been very happy to see is that we have been fairly successful without falling into that ABCD trap. So my question is, you know, Satyameva Jayate, for instance, you know, how much of audience is involved? I don't think Satyameva Jayate, my view is, it might not have been as successful 10 years ago as it is today.
You know, that's a hypothetical question, so I don't know how to answer that. But let me tell you, throughout my career, even as an actor, or whether it was SMJ or each of my films, I have to say that even in the film industry, there are people who have this thought, okay, for a film to succeed, you have to do ABCD. And if you don't do ABCD, you'll never succeed. I've never followed that. And I've been reasonably successful. You know, I think at the end of the day, you have to follow your heart, your conviction, what you essentially feel is what you have to follow. And when you do that, there's a certain energy that comes into your work, or, you know, in journalism as well, that is very intangible, which people sense, which they feel. And I think that's what's worked for me, in a sense, because I've never followed any rules of mainstream cinema, or for that matter in SMJ. We were doing a show on very, very difficult social issues, some of them that people are hesitant to discuss on a public platform. And we had, you know, a large section of the nation actually connecting with it and engaging with it in a very robust manner. Did we know that that's how the reaction would be? Did we know that's how it would succeed? We had absolutely no idea, none whatsoever.
But you know, cinema, if you go back maybe 70s, 60s, I wasn't around then, but one reads in the history books. You know, there was always something very idealistic about the main protagonist. There was a sense of anti-establishment that cinema sort of had. Do you find, you know, and I ask this question all the time, even in the context of journalism, is anti-establishment messaging becoming a little old-fashioned?
I've never thought of it that way. I mean, I don't know how to answer that question, because I've not worked that way ever. I've not looked at films as anti-establishment, or, you know, so I don't know how to answer the question.
But would you say that films have gotten a little bit more intelligent over time?
Intelligent is a very, you know, it's a very clunky word, I feel. I think that cinema over the 90s and over the next decades and now has become slightly more refined. It's become more, in my feeling, there's a lot more variety in mainstream cinema. Audiences have changed. The audiences want to see different kinds of stuff. I think filmmakers have changed. Filmmakers want to tell different kinds of stories within the mainstream, and that was unusual. Let's say in the 70s, you would see very little of that, almost none of that, in the mainstream.
Right.
So in that sense, I think there has been some amount of refinement in mainstream cinema, yeah.
If I can just tie that response back into the journalism context, you know, the reason I sort of hope and pray for a growing audience of people who are willing to listen to the more intelligent content, the more intelligent, the more nuanced argument, is because, Aamir, we're living in an age of terrorism.
In an age of?
Of terrorism.
Terrorism, yeah.
And almost always, any act of terrorism anywhere in the world gets linked to Islam.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding that requires nuance.
Mm-hmm.
How would you?
Well, for me, acts of terror are, you know, not connected to any religion. So whether it's a person who feels he's a Muslim and is doing an act of terror, I don't think he's following Islam. Or for that matter, somebody who's a Hindu who's doing something which is, you know, which is very violent and an act of terror is not following Hinduism. I don't think that any religion teaches killing of innocents. So when you see an act which is an act of terror, of violence, instead of calling that person a Christian terrorist or a Hindu terrorist or an Islamic terrorist, you should just call the person a terrorist and remove the religion tag from it, because he's actually not, he or she is not really doing what the religion is supporting, or what the religion is saying. So I think that's the first mistake we make, is when we label them Islamic terrorists or Hindu terrorists or what have you. So that religion should be removed from that tag. It should just be terrorist who doesn't have a religion, because Islam certainly doesn't condone or even allow killing of innocents in any way.
Yeah. And Aamir, you're echoing exactly what the Prime Minister said yesterday. Exactly this. In fact, the word, we should remove religion from conversations of terrorism. But the fact is that perception is that when you talk about terrorism, the concept of Islam or sort of Muslim extremism does come in. It has come in Paris as recent as that. Do you think the vast majority of the moderate Muslim, especially in the Indian context, do you think they should be speaking out a little bit more?
Yeah, I feel a vast majority of the moderate Muslims, which is in fact a vast majority of the Muslims, are most concerned about what is happening. They feel upset about what is happening. They feel uncomfortable with what's happening. And if I'm not mistaken, a number of Muslim organizations have begun to speak openly against the ISIS and similar terror organizations. They have begun to, at least in India, I know that they have. Yeah.
Aamir, you as a superstar, or your sort of colleagues, do you think it's time that we get people like you also to have a little bit more strong voice when it comes to representing the moderate Muslim?
Yeah. Well, I feel, when you say, should I be representing the modern Muslim, I feel very uncomfortable, because I feel, first of all, why should I be representing anyone? Secondly, if I have to represent anyone, why should I not represent everyone? Why should I have to represent Muslims? So in the capacity of myself as an individual, if I'm representing my country or my society, then I stand for everyone, not just for any one section of society. My birth may be in a Muslim household, but if I speak, it's for everyone. So I think that on a number of occasions, celebrities have spoken up against acts of terror. So I don't think that's not been done by us. That has been done by us, yeah.
Okay. I wanted to talk about a few more things, but I think since we have so many people sitting in the audience here, if I just get a quick show of hands and asking people around who want to get a comment in while I get a few more questions going. Is there a Lieutenant Arun Kumar Sani? Can I see him? Is he around here? I saw him at the back and then he's sort of there. Can we get a mic across here, please? General Sani is the chief of the Southwestern Army Command.
Right.
Hi. Good evening, Aamir.
Good evening,
Good evening, Anand. Thanks.
Sorry, no, quick comment from you, General Sani. Do you think that, is there anything that you would like the film industry to sort of speak about more when it comes to our relationship with our neighborhood? With our neighbors specifically. What is the role do you think that cinema and film has done with regards to our relationship with our neighbors?
I think that's a known fact today that information seems to have overtaken our lifestyles. And undoubtedly, as you said, that mantra of ABCD, where Bollywood actually holds a very important space in our society. Perceptions can be changed. I think positive engagement, I think the best example is this recent movie of Bajrangi Bhaijaan. I think it gave such a positive fillip to the relationship between India and Pakistan. I thought it was a beautiful movie where sentiments actually evoked good feeling for each other. Yeah. So I think today information, media, and I'm sure Bollywood itself can really make a difference in giving a positive fillip to the attitudes that are there, because perceptions are formed by the information, and information is through the media that we are getting, whether it's print or whether it's the media which you see, mass communications, as you're saying, any of the issues. So I think that is one area where they can, of course. And more importantly, we've got 7 neighbors around us. I think a bit about each of them, the lifestyle, the problems that they face, will actually make us also more sensitive to their requirements. I think there is a great amount that can be done there. Sure. And the last movie, I think, is the best example. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, I've always believed, that in any society, not just India, but in any society, you have people who play different roles in society. So the law and order machinery gives us security, and doctors give us health. So what do the creative people in society do? What is our contribution? So whether it's actors or painters or poets, writers, performing arts, every kind of artist, every kind of creative person actually can, if he or she so decides, can actually make one of the biggest contributions to society. Because doctors can give you health, but writers and storytellers can change your mind. They can change your heart. They can change the way you feel about something. And when we talk about nation building, that is an extremely important aspect of nation building. You can make the best infrastructure. You can invest in the best infrastructure, but you'll still see a car coming on your side of the road. So the hardware can be created, but what will you do about the software? And I personally feel one of the biggest challenges we face as a country today is not how to solve one particular issue or the other particular issue. It is to address the issue of us as a people. How can we as a people come together? Because until we come together and work organically, until we kind of widen our understanding of self, until that happens, I think it'll be a long time before we can change. And it is the creative people, who actually can have a huge impact in a short period of time. And that is an understanding that we all need to come to. I've always felt this for the longest time, that it's the creative people who can actually build a nation from people. It's the people,
So speaking of nation building, I can see Shashi Tharoor sitting in the front row there. Can we get a comment from you about, again, similar, on the role of society, on the role of film in nation building?
You put me on the spot. Actually, I wanted to commend Aamir on his earlier comment, because I thought that what he said about the concerns that were being expressed, this is something which obviously the creative community can try and do something about. Because why is it that people, including people in such positions of prominence in our country, appear to hold such regressive views about other communities, about other people? It may partially be that we haven't done enough. Maybe we need more Amar Akbar Antonies, more films that talk about the essential commonalities amongst people. And just as the General was saying a minute ago about relations with our neighbors, the same thing applies within our country. Are we doing enough through the creative community in a way that actually compels people to think about their own deep-seated prejudices and bigotry? Because that lies, I'm afraid, at the heart that enables the kind of atmosphere that you were condemning earlier this evening.
Yeah, one of the challenges also is that the people in the creative fields are also part of the same society. So we also have the same problems that that we see around us. So we are not free from that. We are also part of the, all of us are part and parcel of the world that we've grown up in. And I think it is important for people with a more positive approach to try and do something which I feel they are. That each one is trying in his own little way. Let's see.
Can we get a comment from Najmaji?
Aamir, I want to quote something. Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, your great-grandfather, said after partition, when he became the Minister for Education, he says the country's development, he said it in the Constituent Assembly, this is his speech, a country's development will not be measured by how many institutions it has, or how many buildings it has built, or how many roads it's built. It will be judged by the quality of mind behind it. So we have to build that quality of mind. Do you agree with it?
I completely agree with it, yeah. In fact, that's what I was saying a little earlier, that, I live in Mumbai. So in Mumbai, when I'm driving on the roads, I come to a traffic signal, and almost no one is following the traffic signal. And I'm like, but this is supposed to be for our benefit. So the ability of each one of us to actually understand that emotionally, is something that we have to get to. I mean, if you look at other countries, if you look at Germany or if you look at Japan, after the Second World War, they were pretty much destroyed. Yeah. But they've built themselves up in a remarkably short period of time. And I personally believe the reason behind that is this feeling and understanding of self, which goes beyond just yourself. The feeling of doing something and believing in something which is for the larger good, which comes instinctively to I believe, those societies, and which is why they've been able to bounce back so fast. I think that's something that we need to work on personally. I mean, that's what I feel.
So, and you've been fairly successful in doing this in your sort of method of communication. Is Mr. Agarwal around there? Can you just raise your hand? Yeah. Can we get a mic to him, please?
Hi, Aamir. I have two questions, both related to your movie. One you have acted, another you have produced.
Okay.
Acted as Raja Babu.
Acted as which one?
Raja Babu.
Raja Babu.
Raja Hindustani.
Raja Hindustani.
And second, you have produced as Peoply Live.
Peoply Live, yeah.
So for the Peoply Live is what the message you want to give to the young reporters who have interest or a keen interest into investigative journalism.
Right.
And that Rajawali movie where we happen to see you having a kiss scene with one of the Kapoors.
Yeah.
And pertinent to that, Censor Board has done little censor on the kiss scene of the latest James Bond.
Yeah.
So how do you react on that?
I feel lucky.
So that was the last we saw, actually.
Well, the first part of the question, just remind me again, what was that? Peoply Live, yeah. See, Peoply Live is not a comment only on journalists. The Peoply Live is a satire on the way we are as a society. That includes journalists, that includes politicians, that includes the administration, the bureaucracy, it includes all people, how people react as well. So it's really a satire, it's a black comedy on how we are sometimes. Now, comedy is obviously because, I mean, as a comedy, you tend to exaggerate, you tend to show it, larger, only then it gets to be funny. So, Peoply Live is really a comment on how we are as a society. It's not just for journalists, I have to say. And the censor board currently has been, minor of my films have come off for censorship of late, so I don't have any personal experience myself. But what I've heard being reported is that it is behaving in a slightly alarming way. Or maybe alarming is too sharp a word to use. It's reacting to things which earlier, we as free people, as adult people, could make our own choices as to what we want to watch and what we do not want to watch. And essentially, the censor board, which we call censor board, was actually a certification board, is supposed to certify the age for which the film is suitable. And then, if it's an adult film, essentially, if the moment a film is, certified adult, then pretty much, you should be able to show anything because an adult will decide whether he or she wants to see the film or not. Then there is no censorship required after the certification. That is our understanding of certification. But as I understand it, it has been a little aggressive in its approach of late in the last 6 to 8 months, I think, yeah. Which is worrying. I hope that changes.
But Aamir, this is the same Aamir Khan who made a comment about AIB, about not liking the AIB roast and saying it wasn't in good taste.
Yeah, no, I'm very much for free speech. I'm a strong campaigner for free speech. My problem with the AIB was not anything other than the fact that there were certain people who had signed up for the roast, and therefore they could be made fun of. But there were certain people who were not signed up for the roast. Some of them who I happen to know personally. And to attack such people and to say things about them when they haven't signed up for the roast was, I thought, extremely unfair. So my response was really more emotional than anything else. And the jokes made on these people were extremely sexist, extremely racist, strange kind of humor, which, if you've signed up for it, is still fine. But my reaction was really more emotional and personal, where I felt I mean, I'm not a person, I mean, I've produced Delhi Belly. It's a highly irreverent film. It's adult humor. So I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with abusive language as long as it is certified appropriately, and you're an adult, you can decide whether you want to engage in it or not. But my problem is that you take an individual person and hit out at that person who actually has got nothing to do with you. I found that a little sad.
Yeah. Can we get a comment here in the first row, right? Farooq ji? Ms. Abdullah? Can we get you to make no? Just sort of comment. Okay.
Talking about, you see, songs like Ungli Karega and Chumma De De. Now, these are normal things. And then in that film, now the censor board says your kiss has to be very limited. Now, how can you make it limited? After all, you have to generate that stimulation, and the kiss does it. So I don't know how he would react to it. Aamir, how would you react to
as long as I get to kiss on the day of the shoot, then the censor can do what they want with it.
Well said. Well said.
Okay. We saw a hand here. Yeah, please. If you just reintroduce yourself to us before you ask a question.
Hi, Aamir. My name is Sudhir Chaudhary.
Hi, Sudhir.
Hi. I'm the editor of Z News. While reporting on this issue of being insensitive, हमने हाल में दो बड़े इंसिडेंट्स देखे, एक दादरी और एक जम्मू कश्मीर में हाल ही में कर्नल संतोष महादिक, वो शहीद हुए थे. कर्नल संतोष महादिक को एक आतंकवादी ने मारा अभी पिछले हफ्ते, और दादरी का जो घटना थी वो हम सब जानते ही हैं. बोथ आर एक्ट ऑफ वायलेंस. उसके बाद भी जिस तरीके से देश रिएक्ट करता है, पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम रिएक्ट करता है, हमारा सिस्टम रिएक्ट करता है, वो अलग अलग क्यों है? अगर असहनशीलता की बात करनी है तो दादरी में हम देखते हैं असहनशीलता पर बहस छिड़ जाती है और लोग अपने अवार्ड्स वापस करते हैं. लेकिन एक और जो आर्मी का अफसर है, कर्नल है, जब वो मारा जाता है तो बहुत सारे पॉलिटिशियंस यहाँ बैठे हैं. दादरी में तकरीबन सभी लोग पहुँचे थे, लेकिन कर्नल महादिक के घर पर सातारा में सिर्फ एक रक्षा मंत्री पहुँचे थे, बाकी कोई नहीं पहुँचा. सो व्हाई डू वी हैव दिस डबल स्टैंडर्ड? मेरा सवाल ये है, व्हाई डू वी हैव दिस डबल स्टैंडर्ड while reporting also, while having a debate also, and while giving a reaction also on this? That's my question.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate. I think it's really unfortunate because every act of terror and every act of violence is to be condemned. And every act of terror and violence is to be condemned with the same ferocity. Unfortunately, you know, as human beings, a lot of us do have double standards. A lot of us who don't have double standards most of the time, sometimes have double standards. Human beings are complex creatures. You know, that's the truth of the matter. I hope and wish that we could be like machines and we could be kind of calibrated into reacting in the appropriate way each time, and who knows what is appropriate and who decides what is appropriate. So the fact is that, you know, these are things that will happen. As you rightly pointed out, it should not happen. Ideally, whether it's the media, whether it's politicians, whether it's a common person, our reaction to violence should be identical, whether it's one community doing it or another community doing it in any way. And by and large, it is. I think by and large, most people are against violence of any kind, no matter who is behind it. I think by and large, that is the case. Yeah.
Is Mr. Sanjay Pugalia around here? No, can you just put your hand up if you're there? Right there. Can we get a mic there, please?
हेलो. जो बड़े क्रिटिकल इश्यूज हैं उस पर आपने बहुत खुले तौर पर अपनी राय रखी है
जी.
तो एक दूसरा इशू लाइटर वेन में लेकिन फिर भी क्रिटिकल है. एक तो यहाँ एक्सप्रेस ब्रांड ऑफ जर्नलिज्म है जो सेलिब्रेट हो रहा है.
सर, एक्सप्रेस
ब्रांड ऑफ जर्नलिज्म.
एक्सप्रेस ब्रांड ऑफ जर्नलिज्म.
अच्छा वाला जर्नलिज्म.
जी 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 जी.
तो जब आपने पीपली लाइफ बनाई
जी,
तो उसको देख के आशा ये थी कि पीपली लाइफ टाइप ऑफ जर्नलिज्म को हम छोड़ेंगे और अच्छे वाला जर्नलिज्म करेंगे. उस फिल्म के बाद जो जर्नलिज्म हम देखते हैं, खास करके टेलीविज़न पे ज़्यादा दिखता है, वो और ज़्यादा पीपली लाइव नहीं हो गया है क्या?
और ज़्यादा पीपली जैसा हो गया
जी।
तो उसका आप जिम्मेदारी मुझ पे ठहरा रहे हैं? वेल, देखिए जर्नलिज्म जैसे हर फील्ड में, मैंने कहा हर फील्ड में लोग हैं जो अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, और ज़्यादातर जैसे हमारा सोशल फैब्रिक इस वक्त है वो हर फील्ड में रिफ्लेक्ट होता है, जर्नलिज्म में भी रिफ्लेक्ट होता है। और इस वक्त जो चैलेंजेस हैं जर्नलिस्ट के सामने, जो आपने कहा था जिसके बारे में हम बात करेंगे, वन ऑफ द वेरी बिग चैलेंजेस इकोनॉमिक चैलेंज है। आप किस किस्म की जर्नलिज्म करें, आप किस हद तक उन चीज़ों के बारे में लिखें, आपके एड्स कम हो जाएंगे, आपकी इनकम कम हो जाएगी, हाउ कैन यू अफोर्ड टू डू जर्नलिज्म समटाइम्स दैट यू बिलीव इन। These are very big challenges, I think, that journalists face, on a daily basis, and it's a real battle. Unfortunately, हिंदुस्तान में जो है वो जैसे BBC एक बहुत ही it's public funded, तो public funded कोई मीडिया हाउस हो जहाँ लोग उसको फंड करें और फिर उसको खुली छूट हो, वो एड्स ना लें, वो सिर्फ जर्नलिज्म करें, तो these are idealistic things. We have to be real about where we are, in what situation we are, and we have to do the best within that. Yeah.
I mean, we're still optimistic at the Express. We still believe that there is a very economically viable way of doing high quality, credible journalism content, and at least that's the hope.
No, that's wonderful to see, and I have to say that one of the first newspapers I pick up every day is in fact the Indian Express, I mean. Likewise, when people ask me in my work, how do I do the films I do, because they seem to be films which are very absurd and weird for popular cinema, and all people close to me have always been worried each time I've selected a film. They feel this is going to bomb, it's never going to work. But I'll tell you what has worked for me. I feel that, you should never compromise with your dreams. No matter which walk of life you are in, you should never compromise with your dreams. You may have to compromise a little to achieve the dream, but never compromise the dream itself. And that's how I have lived my life, And every time people have told me, अम्मी ने कितनी दफ़ा कहा है कि क्या कर रहे हो आमिर, तुम 2-3 साल में एक फिल्म करते हो, वक्त होता है इंसान का, आप उस वक्त का इस्तेमाल करें, ये आप कौन सी फिल्म कर रहे हैं, क्रिकेट पे कौन देखेगा फिल्म. So, even my mother has been worried about me at all times. And all the people I know have told me at different times that what I'm doing is absurd, I shouldn't be doing it. But, I think today I can look back and say they've worked, but they may not have worked. See, they may not have worked also. The projects I did might not have worked. But I have the satisfaction and joy of doing what I believed in. And I have that satisfaction and joy, which is a bigger joy than, because the journey is as important as the end product. Film chale, nahi chale, what you believe in may ultimately happen or not happen. A lot of people in the social field or in the political field have dreams which they fight for all their lives, but they don't achieve. So it's not the success or the failure, but the journey that you lived through your life that I think is very important.
There's a question here. Yeah.
हेलो आमिर, चित्रा त्रिपाठी हूँ मैं, इंडिया न्यूज़ चैनल में एसोसिएट एडिटर हूँ. मेरा सवाल आपसे ये है, आपने जब पीपली लाइव बनाई थी उस समय जर्नलिस्ट का जो कैरेक्टर था, जो मेन जर्नलिस्ट का था, किसको देखकर आपने चुना था? क्योंकि उसमें मुझे लगता है कुछ ज़्यादा ही दिखा दिया था आपने पत्रकार को.
देखिए, सबसे पहले तो मैं खुलासा करूं
जी
कि उस फिल्म की कहानी ना तो मैंने लिखी थी ना उस पर मैंने काम किया था.
निर्माता तो आप ही थे, आपकी पत्नी किरण राव जी भी थी.
नहीं, मैं प्रोड्यूस कर रहा था फिल्म को, लेकिन अनुषा रिजवी जो एक पत्रकार रह चुकी हैं, उन्होंने वो फिल्म की कहानी लिखी, कंसेप्चुलाइज की, स्क्रीन प्ले लिखा, किरदार लिखे और डायरेक्ट भी उन्होंने की. तो ये सवाल आप उनसे पूछें.
Yes, please, right here.
Yeah, hi, this is Rajiv.
Hi, Rajiv, how are you?
Aamir, you put it very well that don't compromise with your dreams and always do the right thing that you believe in. How do you figure out what is right? What you believe in, is it right or wrong?
No, you have to go with your own judgment. At any given point, you have to go with your own judgment, and that's the best that any of us can do, really. And you have to go with what your beliefs are, what your conscience allows you to do, what your conscience feels. At the end of the day, for each one of us, our conscience is our gatekeeper. For each one of us.
And if you believe in something and you find out that that's not the right thing to do, then what do you do?
Oh, that's a complicated one. Tell me, if you believe in something, but that's not the right thing to do.
As per you, later on, you can always...
Oh, you mean later on? कि इस वक्त मैंने कोई चीज़ की 2 साल बाद मुझे लगा मुझे नहीं करना चाहिए था. Then you have to seek forgiveness. You have to try and redeem what you've done. First of all, accept what you've done is something today you are not very proud of, and then hopefully you can try and redeem it.
Have you ever done that?
Have I ever done that? Let me think. Wait. Yeah, I think I have a number of occasions. Yeah, I've done something which I strongly believed in. Then later on, I felt कि नहीं यार ये सही नहीं था. I shouldn't have done it. I have faced that on a number of occasions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Hi, Aamir.
Hi.
Irfan from Economic Times.
Hi, Irfan.
I'll remember an anecdote that happened with me. I briefly worked with television. I was on air for a story that some Supreme Court was saying. And while I was on television, anchor was talking to me, and I was talking about the story of the Supreme Court. Suddenly, anchor said, "Hakeem, आप बने रहिए हमारे साथ 3 दफा घुस चुका है मीरठ में, एक घर में. 3 दफा has got into the house, and please you stop talking about the Supreme Court." And we are, and the camera, then the OB and everything happened. What was happening in Meerut? Just the tiger had entered into a house.
Ji.
So I want to tell you that of course it got TRPs more than what I was saying. But I was talking about a very serious story. Then Tendwa was in a Meerut house. So how do you face these kind of situations when you have to decide about TRPs or being seriousness? And how often does it happen these days?
See, I don't know about the media world because I've not really worked in it. So it's very difficult for me to really... It's very difficult for me to really, comment in an accurate way. I can tell you about my own world. There are often times when we are faced with situations where we feel, oh, is this something that is, like you have TRP, is this something that people will like? So when I'm making a film like Tare Zameen Par, is this a film that people will want to watch? Is it mainstream cinema? On the face of it, certainly not. It's not mainstream cinema. It's a story about a child who's got dyslexia, the only person who's like me, I'm the only popular person in the film. I come midway through the film. So for various reasons, it's not your normal mainstream cinema. But I still want to make it because I just love that story and I want to be part of that film. And I go ahead and I make it. So I don't think of TRPs or how many tickets will sell. Most of the time that I'm taking decisions. In fact, all the films that I've done, even whether they're successful or not, are films that I've selected because I felt like doing them. And a number of them have been very, very off from the mainstream. They've not been part of mainstream. Have they been easy decisions? No, they've not been easy decisions. Whether it was Lagan, whether it was Rang De Basanti, whether it was, Tare Zameen Par, all of these times, you're constantly driven by self-doubt. Now and then you feel, am I doing the right thing? Will people be interested? Satyameva Jayate. We had no idea whether people would be interested in it. So, do we go through doubts? Yes. But the doubt is not strong enough to derail us. And I think that's very important. Doubts are important, they keep you on your feet, but you should not be derailed in what you believe in is what I feel. And I've been fortunate so far. I guess somebody up there is looking after me.
We'll take one last question before we... Can I see? Right there? Yeah.
Hello, Aamir.
Hi.
I'm Vandana.
Hi, Vandana.
And I'm from the government.
Okay.
And I must tell you that you just said that we should live for our dreams and try to achieve them. And I have been, dreaming of attending one of your talk shows ever since I saw Qayamat Se Qayamat Tak, and here I am. And yes, you do make a lot of very absurd, you go for absurd topics.
Yeah.
And one of them was what you just mentioned, Tare Zameen Par. And that is what, made such a change even among students. I don't know whether you know, but my child also started looking at his own schoolmates who he said, he's a special child, Mama, I have to be very careful.
Yeah.
So the commercial...
So sensitivity really rose at... Yeah.
Yes. So people in Bollywood should actually make more social movies which have a message.
Yeah.
And not just look for ABCD and their returns. It makes a big impact even on the nation, like you just said that, Germany and Japan, the people just bounced back.
Yeah.
So even in our country, there are a lot of people who are fence-sitters who will bounce back to a much better way of life.
Yeah.
And they're highly influenced by Bollywood. I wish all of you producers, there could be more like you who would think of these things. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I think can we get a comment from Tavleen Singh? Yeah? Okay, I'm putting on the spot, but she gave me so many questions to ask and I've not had the opportunity, so I'm... But I'll introduce Tavleen Singh as...
I know Tavleen.
But she's the most popular, most shared and most commented on writer in IndianExpress.com every week.
Wow.
So, yeah. Go ahead.
Wow.
You're softening the blow. I asked him to ask you a question which is politically incorrect, and in such a happy atmosphere, I feel guilty asking it. But there's no point in pretending that what happened in Paris has nothing to do with Islam. It does. The people who did the killings had a Quran in their hand. They've done it in the name of Allah. Now, we live in a country with the second largest Muslim population on the planet. We have our own kind of Islam, which produced Ghalib and Mir, and you'd be shot dead in ISIS, if you were living in the Islamic State. So I'm just curious to know whether you think about these things. You were very eloquent about how intolerance has grown in India, which I don't agree with. I think we're as intolerant as we ever were, or as tolerant. But do you think about what we might face if Wahhabi Islam obliterates poets like, where would Ghalib be able to say, Khuda ke vaste parda naqabe se hata? Sorry, I have a very bad throat.
Yeah.
So do you think about these things? Would you like to talk about it?
No, I do think about these things. First of all, I want to disagree with you. I don't feel they were Islamic acts. A person who's holding a Quran and killing people, he may feel he's doing an Islamic act, but as a Muslim, I don't feel he's doing an Islamic act. So I want to disagree with you on that. I'm very clear that a person who's killing innocents is someone who's not is not a Muslim. As far as I'm concerned, he's not a Muslim. He may claim to be a Muslim, but we should not recognize him as that. He's a terrorist, and we should recognize him as a terrorist, is what I feel. My problem is not just with the ISIS, it's with that kind of thinking. So my fear, when you say that, do you think about it, are you afraid of such things happening? Of course I am. And that fear is there with that kind of thinking. Today it could be ISIS, tomorrow it could be some other organization. This extreme thinking is what I worry about. Because I feel that this extreme thinking, no matter where it comes from, is very, very destructive and very, very negative. So I have a problem with that kind of thinking. So certainly I have a problem with ISIS. And I'm saying that this extreme kind of thinking, which may belong to any section of any religion, is what I have a problem with. So certainly I do have a problem with that. Yeah.
I think that's all we have time for. Thanks so much, Aamir, for being here and making this event so special for us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aamir. Just remain where you are. If I could request Raj Kamal Jha, Chief Editor, the Indian Express, to please come up and present a small token with Mr. Ramnath Goenka. Please be seated, ladies and gentlemen. We have a very short
thanking
function.
note. Please, thanks.
A small token for you, Aamir, to take back. And Ramnath Goenka has another. Please be seated, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Thank you very much. If I could request Raj Kamal Jha to please propose the vote of thanks as soon as the photograph is done. Raj, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Rini. Yeah, we have come to the end of a wonderful evening, which, come to think of it, has been a very strange evening. It has been a bit unreal evening as well, because since 6:30 p.m., we have just heard wonderful things about journalists. Not one abuse. No one got up to say stooge, bhakt, Chappu ka Chappu, secular, Sanghi, not even the most wonderful of them all, prostitute. For the record, we did send an invitation to Mr. V.K. Singh. Thank you. Let's not forget that on a wonderful evening like this, most of these abuses are wonderful badges of honor, depending on where they are coming from. That's not all. We also got to listen to a conversation with just two people, where the subject who had been called got more talk time than the person who was doing the interviewing. This really has been a strange evening, so thank you very much.
Quickly just add one. Just quickly add one very, I must comment, I must just say thank you to Aamir. You know, I went in, I had a 40-minute session with him, Raj, before this thing. And he asked me, Anant, do you know what you want to ask me? I said, yes, I know what I want to ask you. And I was very nervous. If I told him what I want to ask him, he might not answer. He might say, don't ask me those questions. He said, then don't tell me what you're going to ask me. I wanted to be candid. I wanted to be sort of impromptu. So it's very rare, Aamir. It's very, very rare to happen.
Thank you. First, thank you very much, the winners and the nominees. We have read your stories. We have watched your stories. We have read what the jury had to say. And what united all your stories were a few things which need repetition. One, if you had not done the stories the way you did them, they would never have got done. So thank you very much. Number two, most good stories are usually about people who never make it to a hall like this one, who will be turned back from the gate of this hotel. Who will not be in your circles, who will not be your followers, who will not be on your social media page. And that is what your stories have shown. They have shown a few other things as well. One, that good stories not only break the silence, they also listen to things that are not said and are not heard. And taken together, whatever you have done, the 57 stories that you have done, show one thing, that the best by definition will always be smaller than the whole. But it is the best that defines journalism. Not the worst, not a few dodgy editors, not a few newspapers who sell their space. That doesn't the Indian media make. I found out, thanks to a colleague of mine, that 39 out of 57 of you are on social media. We shall follow you. I still don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I know one thing, that we shall follow you, and we shall follow you for the stories you have done. Mr. Jaitley is not here. And it is not very, very healthy when journalists agree with the INB minister. But we could not agree more with him when he said that we need to look within before we need to look out. That's a wonderful thing he said. The other thing which he said was that how it is very, very important for one or two individuals to protect the space that we all need. Thank you, Aamir Khan, for speaking your mind and your heart, and for making it so difficult for us to know the difference. Thank you very much. In the end, a thank you to you, friends and family of those who wrote the stories. You may not have your names to the story, but we know you are part of the hidden hand. So thank you very much. The others, and lastly, but not the least, everybody who has come here. You know, I was just thinking the other day that given all the cynical abuse that journalists get, if we get a hall of this size to be filled on a Monday evening to celebrate the finest of journalism, I think we are okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations to our winners. Thank you to Aamir. Thank you to our corporate partner, Lloyd, associate partners, governments of Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, PC Jewelers, Bharat Petroleum, NTSE, NTPC, Power Grid, ONGC and Trustline, event partner LIC, writing instruments partner Parker, and banking partner Union Bank of India. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us now for tea and refreshments outside the hall. Thank you very much and good night.